Welcome to Booked and Busy, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of your favorite authors one book at a time. Each week we will dissect bestsellers and explore the stories that have captured our hearts and minds. Whether you're a casual reader or an avid reader, our reviews and conversations will spark your imagination and inspire your next read. Join us as we hear from fellow book lovers and share our insights on themes, conflicts, and hidden gems. Hi everybody and welcome back. On today's episode, we will be discussing The Housemaid Secret by Freida McFadden. But before we start today's discussion, we have a few reminders. We will be reviewing Demon's Dream by Elle Kaysen on our next episode and releasing 3 episodes on the entire Skyland series by Candy, Ryan, and May. Tanitra, before we get started, I know we have a lot of books to talk about and to review, but I want to know what book or series are you most excited about us reviewing?
100% Demon's Dream. I have been waiting to review Demon's Dream since I started reading it.
Did you finish?
I did. I just finished. I did.
Yeah, I'm ready. I had to actually put together some questions, and it's actually long, so next episode may be very long. But I
have some talking points on there. Oh, we're gonna get to Demon's Dream. Oh, we're gonna get to it.
Yeah, I couldn't find any discussion questions online for it, so I was like, let me make.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Don't you worry.
Right. I think I'm most excited to. Well, yes, of course, I want to review the Skyland series. That's a big one right there. But it's one series that I'm ready to review, and I can't think of the series name, but the first book of the series is called Restore Me, and it's by J.L. Seegers.
I've heard of that author.
Yeah, I follow that author and that whole series. I think it's 6 books in the series actually. So yeah, I'm
sure I got a Books A Million run to make this week anyway. I'm sure gonna pick it up.
Right, it's so many. I just have my list on Goodreads, and I just go based off that. But I know we have a schedule to attend to first and get some reviews out the way, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got 2 points to make before we go into full discussion on Housemaid Secret. And this may be the theme of this episode today, but I don't excuse my language to any parents, to our parents that are listening to this, so please excuse me. Here we go. I don't like broke ass, scamming ass, scheming ass bitches.
That part.
That's probably in my top 5 pet peeve list.
If you could summarize this book in one sentence, that's what you just did.
Yeah, that's the main point right there, because this book had me fuming once I got to part 2.
Same. Oh my God.
And it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same kind of impact of the first one. This one made me angry.
I could tell too. It's just he's so mad. No, but you're absolutely right.
Aggravated me was when I used to listen to the reviews on TikTok, or when I was listening before I even started the book, people were saying it's just like the first one in a sense,
and it literally is not.
Yeah, but it's just it's not. This is totally the 360 that this book
that
did.
Twist was crazy.
This was different. Yeah, this was way different, and I wasn't expecting it at all. I mean, just like the first one, I wasn't expecting that twist, but this one was no.
And it's the exact same phenomenon. Once you get to part 2, you just start turning them pages faster. It's the exact same mood from the first book, but it's very different.
Yeah, very much so different. My second point that I want to make, Millie is my girl, and this is why I'm going to tell you why Millie is my girl. I think Millie is an Aquarius, and I have 3, that's my assumption, but I have 3 points to make in regards to Millie. Okay, so there's 3 kinds of people in this world when it comes to drama. It's people who start stuff and can't back it up. 2, it's people who just don't like drama at all and will never have a conclusion to drama. They just eliminate themselves from drama completely. And then there's Millie. You start with her. She's going to finish it.
She's going to back it up. 100%.
Yes. Whatever you throw at her, she is going to finish it. Yes.
She absolutely is.
Yes, and she's not scary. That's the thing I really like.
Oh, you got the right one today. And she's smart.
And she's so nice until you really get her to that point.
Make her upset.
That's why I say I think she's an Aquarius.
I could see that. Yeah. I could also see Scorpio. there are several different types of Scorpios, but the way she's very defensive and she's like, I'm going to go to the furthest extreme that I can to get my point across. She kind of gives me a little Scorpio energy, but I could see Aquarius because she wants to help. And in the end, she's a really good person. She just wants to, just don't cross her. That's fine.
Very good person.
That's generally Aquarius. So
very good person. Helping women.
Absolutely.
Wants
to be a social worker.
Yeah. And nobody really wants to be a social worker unless they really want to.
Yeah. It has to be a calling.
Yeah.
And my girl, Millie Mills. She's not
Millie
the one.
Mills. Right. Millie C. Millie Calloway.
Millie C. Don't want none of Millie C.
Right. Also, I wanted to make this point. So I'm also compare Millie to a moment. So for the audience, for those who don't know, well, we haven't really talked a whole lot about just us in general. So me and Tanitra have been knowing each other since the 9th grade. We're classmates. So I've been knowing Tanitra for about 15 years now.
Actually, yes, exactly about 15.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I know, right? Time flies, right? So when we were, I don't know if Tanitra recalls this, but we went to a very big high school. We had about 500 people graduate in our class. So Tanitra, do you remember when we used to have to sit in the gym before we had to actually got dismissed to classes before we went to homeroom?
Yes.
Or if you went to breakfast or you went to the gym, either one. It's like one of those things before we went to homeroom if we got to school super early. So one morning, this is so fun, and this is what Millie reminds me of. So it was a big old fight in the gym.
I knew you were about to bring up that fight.
It was a big old fight, and it was like junior year. It was like our 11th grade year, and this girl, she was about to get jumped by like 2-3 girls. And this girl, I was like, this girl need to go to the army after school. If she ain't went to the army, if she not going to the army, this girl kicks this bitch off the bleachers. Like she was a goddamn Power Ranger. So it's like that. It's like people, like I said, when I went back to that case scenario, if it's 3 people in this world and you come at them with drama, they are going to finish it. And that girl definitely finished it.
Bleachers was so...
Yes, they were. That was a big old gym. Like, and it makes it even more embarrassing. I would never have got caught dead fighting in that gym because that was like the worst,
Oh my goodness.
That's the worst part of school to be fighting in because everybody is in there all throughout
everybody
the day.
Saw it.
Yes. And then it's early in the morning. It's 7:30 in the morning. You're fighting like that. You definitely need to go. You need to go to the army.
Oh
all them girls need to go to the army. I don't wake up that
mad. That's right.
But yes, like I really applaud her for handling that. Honestly,
really?
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's doing now.
You,
but
girl.
Yeah, good job. You held it down. But that reminds me of how Millie is. She just handles drama. Like I don't start nothing, but hey, we can finish it. We can take it there if you want to.
Absolutely.
It's okay. Okay. So, first question from book club discussion questions. Did you spot any early signs that things weren't quite right in Wendy and Douglas Garrick's luxury penthouse lifestyle? And I also think we need to do a little bit of summary or a little, of Housemaid's Secret first.
Oh, you want me to? Since I just finished reading it like not that long ago.
Yeah, you can.
So, brief overview, right? When we last left Millie, she was working for different households as a housemaid. But we also know that Millie takes care of women who have abusive husbands. So by takes care of, we all know whatever they have to do to get those women to safe places.
And this is a big time jump too, to bring that up.
It's about 6 months to a year. I forget exactly how much. But her and Enzo have been working together. So glaze over all those details because I don't want to get too far into it. She ends up working for this lady, actually this man and she never sees his wife. She's always locked behind this room. He's just like, clean around and don't mess with my wife. Don't go to her door. Later, Millie finds out that the wife is being abused and they come up with a plan and she gets the wife to safety. And then the husband brings the wife back and Millie ends up killing the husband in defense of the wife. Wife sends her home so Millie doesn't get into trouble. She finds out that on the news later that night that Wendy, the battered wife, actually is blaming the entire murder on Millie. And she also finds out that the husband is not the husband. Like she's been talking to a completely different man this whole time. So now Millie's mad and she's ready to go confront Wendy. We find out that Wendy is a scam artist, and Wendy has put together this entire plot to get her a rich husband. He didn't want her anymore because she's a liar. We'll get into that later. And she came up with a scheme to murder him and found a man who was a handsomer version of him to pretend to be him, and she was going to run off with him. But said handsome man's wife ends up finding out, and she goes and she murders Wendy and handsome man. And then we find out, later on, Millie had set that whole thing up so that the wife could go get her revenge. And it looks like Wendy killed everybody, so nobody's going down for this. And that's where we are now. And Millie and Enzo are back together.
The thing with the time jump, I know it was indicated, that they got together and whatnot, but wasn't in the first Housemaid, they didn't have that. I knew she liked him, but it wasn't.
They didn't have a spark like that. Yeah. It was him and Nina who had like a spark.
Yeah. Between this little time jump between the Housemaid and the Housemaid Secret, they end up getting together. So it's really significant. So
it is.
And
Enzo was that fine Italian housekeeper who was out there trimming shrubbery and whatnot, and who pretended he couldn't speak English.
And he's been speaking good English this whole book.
Full of sentences.
Right. But let me go back to the first question.
That's a quick summary. So now you can,
So everybody knows why I'm saying this is a scamming.
Yeah. I'm like, what did she do?
Because I really want to dive into that, because that's really something that I cannot rock with. Okay. But the first question, it says, did you spot any early signs that things weren't quite right in Wendy and Douglas Garrett's luxury penthouse lifestyle?
I thought that something was weird, but I did not think that Douglas would end up being the bad guy for some reason. I knew whatever twist was involved, I knew that he wasn't really the problem. It just may have looked different. I actually thought somebody else was beating up Wendy, and that's what was going to end up happening. So I never suspected that Wendy was scamming them, though, at all.
Yeah, I didn't suspect the complete plot twist, not to be anything like that. I didn't think she was no scam artist at all.
Right.
I honestly thought it was a case of abuse. I didn't know what the twist was going to be, but it wasn't that.
At all.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the exact point, too, where I was just like, because I don't even know if we had gotten to part 2 yet, where we get to Wendy's point of view, but it's when Millie is sitting down and she's watching that news story.
Yeah,
and then
she was like, that's not the dude.
That's not Douglas. I tell you, that made my heart jump. I was like, whoa.
I was like, what? I had to go back and reread it. I'm like, what do you mean that's not him? Like, what are you talking about?
Like, whoa. Like, that was the point. Like, but that was
because part 2 is when you jump into Wendy's, her not having
Freida ate that up. I did not see that coming.
While we just kind of on the topic of just part 2, but the plot twist, I guess, I know we probably a little bit ahead. The thing that I didn't like about Wendy doing this whole is the thing of Millie always being collateral damage almost in a sense. And I don't like her trying to take advantage of that, because when we get to part 2, her whole plan, she stretches out the whole plan. So I don't like Millie is there to help women.
I agree.
And you're taking advantage of that, and I didn't care for that at all. She's not here to do your dirty work. She can get like that, but she's not there for that. And I just felt like that was just that was
awful.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
All on the news?
And then she already been to jail before. Yeah, she already been to jail.
And that. She already done rushed you. So you had me driving all around, driving you to McDonald's, driving you to motels, and there was nothing wrong with you. That was so crazy. That was crazy.
Okay. The next question, it says Wendy is, and we kind of touched on this a little bit. It says Wendy is initially seen as the victim of abuse who is later revealed to be the villain. Did you like the way she was portrayed? What did you love or hate about her? I hated her since once I saw, especially it was right when she said when they were on the news and she was blaming Millie and then she just told her, I'm going to take care of it. You don't worry. I don't like that. That made me just go so angry.
The only nice thing I can say about Wendy is she is a fantastic actress, because she had everybody fooled. everyone.
She had
but, oh my God,
her actual husband fooled.
Oh my goodness, that was a nice little twist too. Like, you go, Garrick. She wouldn't have got a dime
actual
anyways.
Garrick. What was the dude who was pretending to be Garrick? Her boy toy on the side. It wouldn't even say boy toy. It was her side dude.
And that man had a whole wife.
Next question. It says, do you think Brock and Millie were a good match? Could they have ended up happily together?
No, I did not like him for her. I do not think they would have ended up together. They weren't compatible. They weren't. And then his response once she told him who she was made me more livid than anything else in this book, because like, you didn't even stop to listen to her whole thing. Like, you just immediately, we're in like the worst situation. We could have at least talked about this later, but you leave me in the interrogation room by myself when you learn about my past. He was way too soft for her. She's better than him. I'm glad they broke up.
Yeah, I will say that was messed up in that sense. But granted, she should have been told him.
She really should have. That was annoying to me throughout the whole first half. Like, I have to tell him at some point. Girl, tell him right now. Like, talking about meeting his parents and stuff, that's the time.
Yeah, she should have been explained that, because she had plenty of opportunities. She did. I just didn't like how pushy he was with the moving in, with her moving in. Like, yes, granted, she is not staying in a nice neighborhood or staying in the most pleasant place, and then she also got attacked.
She did.
Someone.
It's in a safe space for her.
Yeah, so I will say that I feel like he was a bit pushy.
Yeah. And then I guess outside looking in, it's probably confusion and then like disappointment and all that stuff, I guess. And he's not used to anything like this. He's this upper crust privileged kid.
And that's a bomb. That's a big bomb that's dropped.
That is.
Especially when you're in jail, that's a big bomb drop. You failed to mention that you did 10 years in jail. And you was locked up
for 10 years.
Yeah, that's not something that's just like a weird fun fact or something like that about yourself. This is like that's a big deal. You're a felon.
Probably for the best, though. Like, he never would have been okay with knowing the real her about all her vigilante activities and whatnot. Like, he never would have been okay with who Millie was.
And at the beginning of the book, when we first heard about Brock, I think this is when she just got fired from her housemaid job.
Oh my God, yeah.
Where that lady, the baby, a kid was calling her mama. I was like, oh, that's embarrassing.
That was fantastic. And then they met again in the city, and the baby's still talking about mama.
I was like, that's real so
that's what you get. Raise your own baby.
Yeah, but that first instant where they laughed about it, I was like, he seems like a good dude. But like I said, I just didn't like the pushiness, because moving in with somebody is just not it just depends. I don't know how long they were together before that started even becoming a conversation. But moving in with somebody is not as simple as, you know.
And it couldn't have been that long, because remember, she said she met him like 3 months after she cut it off with Enzo. So that's like, y'all could have a year at the most. Like, you need to relax.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why they just overall just weren't compatible, even with when they were going to dinner. And also, I feel like even if they ended up being together, he would have been controlling in a sense.
Yeah, she would have ended up having to compromise a lot. Like, I noticed
even
that as well.
Having that he's trying to get her to work at his office or something like that. It's like, you want just all access to my life, and I'm just not comfortable with that. So I'm glad she kept telling him, no, I think I'm gonna stay at my house, even though I'm living in this raggedy ass place, in this dangerous ass place. Like, I'm just gonna. And
although that's one where I was like, Millie, you probably should have moved in with that man. Like, after that first attack, I don't care about none of that. Like, I know he got good building security, girl. You know you should have moved in with that man.
But once that man was arrested and that we found out that Enzo concocted, she was like, no, I'm just gonna stay at my house. She's like, no, I'm just gonna stay here. After she like completely moved out, right? She was moving.
Now, that was messed up.
I was like, come on.
Like, they was all excited. And she told him
he was excited. She wasn't excited. She was just trying to, told him like I said, she be in survival mode.
You know what? I think I'll stay. Like, she was messing with that boy's heart. Like, come on. He already had a bad heart.
Like, I'm not going to lie. It's nothing like having your own space. But I think she didn't really want to tell him. No, she didn't want to move in with him because I think she felt more pressured to tell him about her past. I think she didn't want to move in with him knowing that she had this secret of, I didn't been in jail before.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. It says, How do you feel about Millie and Enzo getting together? Have they got a chance of a happily ever after romantic future together?
Hells yeah. I love Millie and Enzo.
Well, 5 and Housemaid's like 2.5. That's their wedding.
I was gonna ask you that because it was like, okay, so this has to be when her and Enzo get married. Like it has to be.
Yeah, it's just their wedding day. It's just their wedding day.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, it was just a little cute little short story. Aww. You can borrow mine. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. She could have did without the story, but it was a cute little.
For people like ship them. I feel like we need it. I want it.
Yeah. So and then she's right. Like they say you can read 2.5 before or after 3, and you can. Like that is when I read it, it was definitely that. But it was their wedding day was definitely adventurous per se.
Love them so much.
So, yes,
now when he came back, that was a good little twist. I promise, though, from when she said she was being followed, I was like, it's Enzo. Like, that one didn't even, like, spook me at all.
Automatically?
I did. Like, when she kept seeing the same car, like, I promise, I was like, especially when it got to the reveal and somebody steps out of the car and stuff, I was like, it's definitely Enzo. Like, he's creepy. He's watching over her. I just know it because he's a good man.
Good man, Savannah.
Savannah.
Let me not use that because that man was cheating in that movie. So let me not.
I know, right?
Let me not.
We always say it too. I be talking about actual good men. It's like, hold on, remember the context, y'all.
All them men in that movie and Waiting to Exhale, they were trash. When people be saying that, it's just like, no,
man, don't. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that man was cheating.
He was awful. He was not a good
Whitney
man,
Houston on the side. Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, next question. It says, did you find Millie a little bit naive and not suspecting she was being set up, or do you see her actions as proof of her good character and eagerness to help a woman in trouble?
Definitely proof of her character. It wasn't naive. Like, they set that up really well. And anybody else in the same situation would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. I hate, and I think we talked about this a little earlier, like I said, I hate that Wendy was using her, and like I said, that's not Millie's role. This is not what she is put on this planet to do. Yeah. That is not, she is to help, and she is not to be taken advantage of. That's how I just...
And you played on everything that she actually works for to actually protect women, and you drag her into your bull crap. Like, that's awful. Especially knowing how Millie helps women for real. Like, you're a terrible person, Wendy.
And you know what about Wendy and her whole plan, and they break down her whole little act of greed. What was the most bizarre thing to me? When she had told that man to hit her so she can have a bloody nose. She pretty much had to start calling him all types of names and all types of stuff for him to actually hit her, because he did not want to hit her.
She was ready to go to mile, boy. Then she lied to that man pretending she could get pregnant knowing you couldn't. Like, the real Garrett, it was awful for him. That is awful.
And I do want to dive more into her story, because when we get the background of Wendy and her talking about, okay, she grew up, didn't really have a whole lot of money. So she pretty much schemes this man, the actual husband. She schemes him. She didn't never even find him all that attractive. But that's what greedy people do. They just... All
she saw was money. She went in there looking for some man. Like, when you think about it now, like, going back to how she was getting ready and stuff and caring about how thin she was and everything, she went in there looking for a rich man.
Yeah, just like all these Instagram girls, they be trying to trap the ball players. That's what they do, just complete greed.
Like, why are you 39 going in here trying to trap a 21-year-old?
Greed.
You're weird.
Yeah, very much so.
Just greed.
Also, too, and with women need to realize that, okay, so we know that Garrick is actually Douglas Garrick is actually a very generous man. He gives to charities and stuff. That's what he uses his money for. He doesn't necessarily want all these fancy and extravagant things. He doesn't really care for stuff like that. But she's just like, he don't know how to do nothing with no money, like type of chick that she is. My thing is with women that they need to realize, like, okay, if this man don't want to provide for you, not necessarily provide for you, give you the things that you want, then go find somebody else who will. Yeah. Like, but don't make him like just seem like he's just so just selfish in a sense. Like, she was making it seem like he was selfish, and that man wasn't doing anything wrong. Like,
if
this is what he wants to, if this is what he wants to do with his money, then okay. If you feel like he not giving you all the extravagant stuff, yes, then go find a man who'll do that. Then just do that. Like, because a man who really like you enough and do all that, then cool. And then you go find somebody who you are actually attracted to, but ain't got no money like that. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up cheating on his wife.
Yeah, that poor
which
lady.
Is awful. And you know what's crazy about that lady? That I was just like, dang, what's awful about the lady? Enzo had dropped the ball on her pretty much, and she was crying outside that coffee shop. I was like, oh, you hurt her feelings.
It's like she went in there expecting to get her little donut, and she come out with her life wrecked.
Because not only that, my husband then left me, is cheating on me, and my favorite boss then got murdered. Yeah. So, yes, she has a lot of emotions.
She got her revenge, though, honey. Like, I know that's right.
And also with Wendy, I know it was a really bad ball dropped on her when she found out with the life insurance, not life insurance policy, with the life insurance policy and the prenup, that she wasn't getting anything regardless.
Yeah. Like, that was justice.
That's what you get.
There. That's complete justice. And she was like, if she hadn't died, she was talking about she was going to try to fight the court system and still get her hands on that money. Like, you look ridiculous, Wendy. All of that was for nothing. You look so dumb. But I'm glad he donated all of it to charity.
And then even with when he died, when the actual Douglas died, because it was her who actually killed him, right? Because the other man was too scared to do it.
Yeah, because he was too scared to shoot.
Yeah. Yep. So y'all plan is just horrible, and then you're idiots because they didn't even realize it was a backdoor camera.
I love that.
So yeah, you done messed up. Like, they've been counted Millie out.
Planned out. Like, how long were you sitting in that room putting on fake bruises and whatnot? Just like planning this whole thing. That's ridiculous. Like,
and then she bold too. She's so bold, and she's cheating in broad daylight on the man.
She was using his money. You couldn't get a separate account or something.
She just has all kinds of just life effed up. Just in all aspects, even from her husband to just the audacity of thinking this is just how this is going to be, or like, I deserve this. You don't deserve anything. You're entitled. And also even with Millie, like, you think you're gonna let her go down for a murder that she didn't even do. You got life all kinds of effed up. And Millie said, you got me all the way effed up.
I'm not the one.
Yes.
Or the two.
Right. And it was so funny to me how she was towards the end, right before their untimely death, I guess. They had it coming to them. People don't prosper doing that, doing stuff like that. She all
in the jacuzzi celebrating. They was right? They celebrated.
Like, we're rich. Were they in like a cabin? They snuck off to a cabin or something.
They was like chilling. Big chilling.
With all types of, wine and champagne.
They ran out of champagne.
And then she got that call from that lawyer and was like, well, you ain't getting nothing.
Wow, the child, she ate that.
I was like, oh my goodness, she's crazy. She's mad.
And then when they revealed that it was actually the wife, because she thought it was Millie who had her trapped in this cabin. Right. I was like, I felt like it wasn't going to be Millie. I felt like Millie had something up her sleeve, and I was right.
But yeah,
I thought it was gonna be Enzo. Actually, I thought Enzo was gonna be the one who was actually at the cabin.
But I'm glad that at the end they wrapped that up and said, like, I'm the one who gave the heart medication to.
Oh my God, that was delicious.
Yes, it was.
That was a delicious twist.
Yes, of course Millie had something to do with.
Of course she did.
She's the one who convinced
him. Like, how can you not like this one? It was not the same as the first one at all. Like, this one gives you a whole new respect for Millie. Like, you already had it for her, but this one is like, okay, yeah, she's not the one.
What would you rate this book? I'm going to go on Goodreads as well and look at some ratings, see who got mad about this book today.
And she might get a little 10 out of me today. And I don't even be doing 10s. But I enjoyed this one, especially because I was anticipating it like, okay, it's not going to be a great follow-up. That's what everybody been saying. But no, that was a really good book.
Did you like this one more than the first one?
I think I liked the first one more still. A lot more shock value. This one was more like, but the first one was like, I think because I wasn't expecting it. This time I was kind of expecting some type of twist, but now I know the way that she writes. So like, the first one still is going to hold that top spot for me.
Yeah, the first one was definitely...
Oh, yeah?
The second
1000%.
one was... Yeah, the second one had me like...
Right?
From
that news, from when she's sitting there watching that news, I'm like, it's like from there on up into part 2 and all through the rest of the book. Like, you just start turning them pages.
Okay, here's a... Oh my goodness, somebody gave it 1 star. Okay.
Hater.
No, it says, I enjoyed The Housemaid and generally think McFadden's books are fun popcorn reads, but this sequel was god-awful. Clunky, repetitive writing, cringy dialogue, predictable plot with a twisty part to retelling the same boring story from another perspective.
It's not the same story at all.
It's not. And it's a lot of reviews on here saying that, and I'm just like, it's
like,
not
Nina
the
was
same
actually
book.
being abused. That's not the same at all. Nina was actually being abused by
Yeah, this was a bamboozle.
This lady
yeah,
hoodwinked everybody into thinking she was being abused. It's very different.
And even with the first one with Andrew, and he ended up being the villain, it's different. It's just
he was the good guy for a lot of the books to me, because it's like Garrett. It's like you don't really get a feel for him. You already like he's kind of an asshole from when you first start reading it. But it's like Andrew to me in that first book, you thought that he
never
was a good guy.
Garrett. That was never Garrett.
Right?
So that's the thing. So we never really even got to see Douglas Garrick. We saw the Russell dude the whole time. We never really got to see who Douglas Garrick actually was.
Like, maybe y'all should go reread the book for yourself and stop taking other people's opinions and mushing it into your own.
Let me find a good review. Okay.
I can't believe people don't like it.
Yeah. Here's a review. It's from a lady named Rachel. It says, dare I say that I like this book more than The Housemaid. Once again, McFadden delivered with some mindless entertainment. If you're looking for a literary masterpiece, this isn't the book. I was kept turning the pages and not seeing all the different twists coming like I did in the previous book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't have to be great works of literature. Like, everybody get over yourself.
I think people get taught. Yeah, I think some people who read books, they're not doing it for the enjoyment of the plot. They're reading to try to critique something. And
1000.
When I was in college, that's what most professors usually look for. I had one professor, she'll say, like, if we're having a discussion and if it doesn't have nothing to do specifically from the book, she's like, she don't want to hear. Or even in our paper, she's just like, I don't want to hear. Like, you can't use no examples or use nothing from your personal experience. And then it's just like, she's just strictly like, from the book. Well, the book ain't giving you that many, depending on what it is, ain't giving you that much to work with, depending on the book. So I just wish people would enjoy the plot versus looking for some literary elements of something.
Right? Like, relax. Go read Shakespeare or something.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna read that. I mean, yes, I like Shakespeare's plots. I'm not looking for just, like, yes, we can read the book, discuss the actual story, and we can go see the play and like just let that be it. But they'll like highlight this dialogue and when did they
it's not just for fun
reiterate this. Y'all making it boring.
It's like nobody reads like that in their real free time. Like, relax. Make me lose the enjoyment of reading the book. Don't do that.
But before we wrap up, Tanitra, can you think of any parts that lend themselves to continuing for a third installment of the Housemaid series? And I've read Housemaid is watching, so just...
Okay.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think something's going to happen that brings that detective back into her life, the one she gave that card to. It's going to be something freaky, and she's going to start doing her vigilante stuff, but maybe on a higher level. But something to do with that cop who gave her such a bad time, and then at the end, he's like, okay, well, here's my card, and now she has an ally. So that part, maybe.
For the third one, I ain't going to say it's a big... Whoa, but
I can't wait to
it's something in there that would be like, oh, okay, so yes,
cannot wait. That concludes this episode of Booked and Busy. Thanks for tuning in with us. Catch us on the next one as we review Demon's Dream. Bye.
Thank you for listening, and be sure to follow us on our socials and check out our reading list on Goodreads.